Hello and welcome to Rauta's Indie 5 review video. This time once again 5 different releases from 5 different bands and also quite different styles. We have black metal, we have a kind of a melodic death black, we have kind of a heavy power metal, and then some hard to genreify kind of a music. But let's do this in alphabetical order. So first we go to Finland with a new band, Crimson Blade. This is 1,000 Years of Midnight, and it's the very first release by this band, founded about 2018, 2019 roughly. And this one features 5 tracks of music. The style could be described as melodic death black metal, originally released in 2021 only as digital release. This is the only physical version, CD or slipcase, very demo-ish, self-financed ways. Now actually this band is somewhat promising, so I don't know whether it's just lack of patience, why they didn't wait for some label to sign them, or if they were hurried or didn't just get proper deal. Who knows, who cares. What we have here is the kind of a band that isn't exactly known for originality, but it's pretty promising given that this is the first release. The melodies are somewhat okay, it's kind of a decent. Production also pretty decent. And there is certain kind of energy, and with fast tempo, while the band sounds like, hey, this is going to be in some places. But this is not so evidently like super catchy or super great, because the music is something like, feels like a little bit recycled, if you know what I mean. I mean, there has been plenty of releases with the given style. A little bit on the death metal side, a little bit on the death metal side, the melodic kind that is, and then you have this kind of a faster tempo to go with it. Now the good thing is the band is not just boring. I mean, they have guitar solos, they have audible bass, which is not so much given with this kind of style, and they have decent vocals. The vocals are actually worth mentioning because they're not purely the typical raspy ones you hear so often in black metal, nor they're actually the kind of a growly type of, well, death metal style, but kind of a combining both elements. Not super unique, but interesting nonetheless. Promising, but still a little bit work in progress kind of a band. Then we go to Greece with this band called Kravgi. It means scream, and everything here is basically written in Greek language, though there are English versions as well. This is a doom band that started as late as 2021, and right after that the band decided to, let's do a self-financed release. Well, not self-financed, I mean, this is Road Rat Records, never heard of them. But I mean, everything is pretty much like kind of a cheapest, as well as the Crimson Blade thing, CDR and all that stuff. So not exactly proper CDR release in that sense. So unfortunately, not only the production is raw, the music is somewhat raw as well. It seems like this was really hurried. This is some 20 plus minutes of rawish melodic black metal. Technically speaking, this could be without the raw adjective, because the music here is melodic and fast tempo black metal, but the production is super raw. I mean, it's kind of a primitive, and distorted vocals and raw guitar sound is like almost like too much for this kind of band. This could definitely benefit of having clearer and more powerful sound, because the music is indeed very melodic. Now it seems it's something is like lost in translation because of the raw sound. I mean, with different kind of riffs, this could actually work, but given that this is kind of a super raw production with melodic riffs which should actually have more crispier sound, it seems like something is lost. Could be promising, but I think this is very much like the first demo kind of a thing. I mean, after all, if you just put up a band and during the first few months already after existence, you put everything out there, it's kind of a given that you didn't have exactly the time to, you know, polish the whole thing here. But yeah, not bad, but a little bit lukewarmish, to say the least. Then we have another Finnish band called Kuoleman Galleria, Gallery of Death, technically speaking, with an album called Armon, Loppu, End of Mercy. This is the 3rd album by the band. Not exactly old band, but not a new band either. This band started with a little bit of a black and rollish kind of a style, with a little bit humor with the music back in the days, and back then it was like a very mediocre outcome with the first album. Now it seems the band has, with their 3rd album, that is kind of a clean up a mess, figured out that maybe this kind of a humor black and roll is not exactly the best kind of a thing out there. And as the result, this is a minor improvement. Never heard the second album, so can't really compare to that. But this is melodic black metal with a hint of other styles as well. But mostly very, very Finnish sounding black metal. But by Finnish sounding, I don't mean the kind of a typical Finnish black metal you might be thinking of. Like, you know, bands like Horna or Satanic Warmaster, Clandestine Blaze or Beherit or Imbel Nazarene, nothing like that. Actually, this is more like typical Finnish sounding Finnish metal, but with a black metal twist. That is, if you have ever heard bands like Mokoma or Stamina or Kotiteollisuus, then you might have a little bit of an idea. Sounding very, very Finnish, but more like Finnish melodic metal with kind of a blackened feeling to it. Kind of hard to describe if you don't know really what this Finnish metal is all about. But this is definitely sounding powerful when it comes to production. The vocals are quite neat also. But the songwriting is still a little bit hit and miss. There are better parts where the melodies are like, okay. And then there are lots of parts where everything feels like it's not going anywhere. I mean, it's more like a bunch of recycled riffs which are not exactly great. Listenable, but kind of a forgettable, not catchy at all, which makes this kind of a hard to like, but still an improvement from the first album, like said. Then we go to Italy with the band called Omega. Now obviously there are plenty of bands with the same name, but that didn't stop this band using that kind of a name. And this second album is called Nebra. And this one is a curious case because it's not exactly purely black metal, though the vocals are very much that. It's not exactly any kind of a one kind of a genre metal, because there are plenty of ideas which could be flirting with post-metal, post-black if you will. There are sludgy parts, there are ambient parts, and that everything is then put in together, including some doomier moments. So is it black metal? Is it doom metal? Is it ambient? Is it sludge? Is it post-metal? Well, a little bit of everything, but not exactly any of those. And that is both the blessing and the curse of this release. Because while at the same time, this definitely has a unique approach to music, it can be really hard to get into. Some people like it, or maybe even love it. But for me, this is more like a little bit too much of all over the place. I recommend that you give this one a chance, especially if you're not allergic to given styles, because this is definitely interesting in the sense that this is not your typical metal album. The only downside is it doesn't work for the most of us, just because it's too much all over the place. Interesting release, but the execution, well, could be a lot better. But check out the links provided and you get the idea. Last but not least is Reviver from Netherlands. This is a band that released its first album in 2005, then disbanded around 2006, and then it was on hiatus for more than 10 years, and now they are back with the second album. So there was 17 years break between these two albums. This is only a promo copy, as you can see, no lyrics, no booklet whatsoever, just a plain old school demo, and that's about it. Now musically, this is very much going to kind of a melodic heavy metal, flirting with a little bit power metal and even with a little bit of progressive metal. The progressive elements are not so much dominating, so we could just say this is heavy metal with a little bit of flirt from both of these styles mentioned later. So heavy metal in the melodic ways. Kind of a catchy, very easy to get into, with good production, quite good vocalist and all that stuff. But something magical is missing. I know the first album was liked by some people, quite a lot indeed, but the second album is not exactly that, you know, well done. I mean, it has almost all the elements to make it a really good album, but where it lacks some power is that these songs are not that catchy. They are not that memorable, even, you know, those chorus parts and all. And then there's lower parts which are kind of like, almost like this kind of a slow heavy metal song, almost like ballads. And then there's these parts which are more like, almost like a thrasher or, well, speed metallic like, I guess, in a way. But yeah, mostly this operates around heavy metal territory, and for people who are big fans of the style might actually like it quite a lot. But in my opinion, this is like the second start for the band, and this could be really a good thing, but now it's a little bit rusty here and there. Definitely worth giving a shot. It's a good mood album overall, but not exactly mind-blowing in that sense. So, to pick one of these albums as the best of the pile is kind of a tricky, because none of these are exactly great. There is a lot of potential in all of these bands, but none of them are actually executing it properly enough. So to figure out which one I would like the most, Reviver and Crimson Blade. For different reasons though, but definitely interesting. So, in case I got you interested in any of these, check out the links provided and, well, give them a chance and hope you like some of them. And if you don't blame me. You have been warned, you have been blessed by these words. Anyway, take care and check out some of these bands and I hope you like them. Take care and bye-bye.